The bright studio lights of Lorraine had just flickered on when Sir Ben Kingsley stepped onto the set, dressed in a crisp navy suit, his posture straight, his expression calm but unreadable. He was there to promote his new autobiographical film, The Mirror Within, a project he had poured 2 years of his life into. Lorraine Kelly greeted him with her usual sunny smile, but even the camera crew sensed something was off the moment he sat down. He didn't smile back, only nodded politely, hands folded tightly together. "Sir Ben, always lovely to have you here," Lorraine began. "Your new film is intriguing, to say the least." "Thank you," he replied, his voice calm but firm. "It is a story of truth. My truth." The room went quiet for a split second. Lorraine gave a nervous laugh before continuing. "Well, it's certainly getting a lot of attention. But some critics are saying the film is a bit too personal. A bit too, how shall I put it, dramatic." Ben's eyes narrowed slightly. "Drama is the essence of storytelling. I fail to see the problem." The atmosphere thickened. The production assistant standing behind the camera swallowed hard. Lorraine pushed on anyway, she never backed away from a conversation. "Yes, but there are claims," she said carefully, "that some scenes are exaggerated. That perhaps you rewrote history a little." Ben leaned back, jaw tightening. "Are you suggesting I lied in my own life story?" Lorraine blinked. "I'm just saying what some viewers believe. And I'm telling you," Ben interrupted sharply, "that the film reflects the reality I lived. No embellishments. No falsehoods." The tension became visible, like static in the air. Lorraine shifted in her seat. "Well, viewers also noted that a few of your co-stars felt pressured. Particularly during emotional scenes. Some called your methods, my methods." Ben's voice boomed louder than anyone expected. "My methods are what have earned me a knighthood, 4 Academy Award nominations, and a career spanning 5 decades." The studio froze. A makeup artist dropped a brush behind the camera. Lorraine tried to keep her voice steady. "Sir Ben, I'm not criticizing your achievements. I'm simply asking about the reports. What happened next was completely unexpected." Ben leaned forward, eyes blazing. "Lorraine, I did not expect tabloid-level questioning from you. This is beneath your show." Lorraine's smile faded instantly. "Excuse me. You heard me," he said. "I'm here to discuss the film, not to entertain gossip." Lorraine took a breath, trying to stay composed. The producers behind the glass window were already exchanging panicked looks. "Sir Ben," she said in a controlled voice, "this is a public interview. People want answers. That's not gossip, that's journalism." Ben shook his head slowly. "If this is your definition of journalism, the industry is in far worse shape than I imagined." The clash had begun. Lorraine straightened her notes, visibly irritated now. "I think our viewers can decide that for themselves." He gave a dry laugh. "Viewers who thrive on controversy, perhaps." Lorraine's voice grew colder. "We bring guests here to speak openly. If you're uncomfortable, that is not my responsibility." "Oh, I'm perfectly comfortable," Ben said. "Uncomfortable is what your producers will be when they realize how low this conversation has sunk." A producer, pale as chalk, suddenly gestured frantically for an early commercial break. But Lorraine continued, refusing to be intimidated. "Sir Ben, you came here to promote your film. If you wanted an easy interview, maybe you should have chosen a different platform. And if you wanted respect," Ben shot back, "you should have asked meaningful questions." The studio fell into complete silence. Then, Lorraine made a decision she had never made with a world-renowned actor before. She stood up. "I think we need to end this interview." Ben raised an eyebrow. "Are you dismissing me?" "No," Lorraine said, turning toward the cameras, "I'm asking you to leave. This show is about positivity, honesty and kindness. Not hostility." The control room went into chaos. But Ben didn't budge. Lorraine exhaled sharply. "Security, please escort Sir Ben off the set." Gasps filled the studio. A security guard stepped forward, hesitantly, approaching the Oscar-winning actor as if he were approaching a king. Ben rose slowly from his chair. He looked at Lorraine, disappointment clouding his expression. "For someone who speaks so much about kindness," he said quietly, "you show very little of it." Lorraine looked away, refusing to engage. Without another word, Ben Kingsley walked off the set, the security guard following a few steps behind. The cameras cut immediately to an emergency pre-recorded cooking segment. But the damage was done. Everyone knew this clash would make headlines across the world. And Lorraine, she stood frozen, her heart pounding. She knew something deeper had triggered Ben's reaction. Something painful. Something personal. But she wouldn't find out the truth. The moment the cameras cut to the pre-recorded segment, Lorraine slumped back into her chair, her hands trembling slightly. The studio crew stood around awkwardly, unsure whether to comfort her or stay silent. Everyone had seen heated interviews before, but nothing like this. Not with someone like Ben Kingsley. "Lorraine, are you okay?" her producer Emma whispered, stepping closer. Lorraine nodded stiffly, though her voice betrayed her. "I'm fine. Just surprised." But she wasn't fine. Behind the anger, she felt something she couldn't quite explain: guilt. Not because she had asked difficult questions, but because she sensed there was something in Ben's reaction that wasn't directed at her at all. Something deeper. Something raw. Before she could process it further, Emma's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and sighed. "The clip is already spreading online." "Already?" Lorraine asked, stunned. "Yes. Someone on the audience team recorded the entire thing." Emma lowered her voice. "It's going viral. #BenV's Lorraine is trending." Lorraine felt her stomach twist. She hated when personal tension turned into public drama. But there was nothing she could do now. Across London, Ben Kingsley sat in the back of a black cab, his face pale, his breathing uneven. He stared at his reflection in the window, barely recognizing himself. He had not planned to explode like that. He had not planned to argue. He had certainly not planned to be escorted off a morning show. But when Lorraine mentioned rewriting history, something inside him snapped. He closed his eyes tightly. Images from years ago flashed through his mind, faces, memories, moments he had buried deep. The film The Mirror Within wasn't just a project. It was the most personal thing he had ever done. It forced him to confront memories he had never spoken about publicly, memories filled with pain, mistakes, and guilt. The idea that someone thought he fabricated any part of it felt like a knife twisting in an old wound. His phone buzzed. It was his assistant. "Sir Ben, the entire situation is everywhere. Do you want to release a statement?" He typed a reply but didn't send it. He didn't know what to say. Back at the studio. During the next commercial break, Lorraine walked off set and stepped into her dressing room. She closed the door behind her and took a deep breath. She replayed the interview in her mind. Something about Ben's eyes when she'd mentioned exaggeration. There had been pain there. Not anger. Pain. She sat down slowly and whispered to herself, "What is he hiding?" Before she could take a sip of water, the door swung open. Emma rushed in, waving her tablet. "You need to see this." Lorraine frowned. "What now?" Emma handed her the device. On the screen was a news headline. "Exclusive. Ben Kingsley's film reveals never-before-told family secret." Beneath it was a leaked excerpt from a magazine article, one that hadn't been published yet. It discussed a deeply personal chapter of Ben's life involving a long-lost family member, a story no one knew about except a few close friends. Lorraine's eyes widened. This is why he reacted that way," she whispered. Emma nodded. "He wasn't angry at you. He was scared. Someone leaked this." Lorraine's heart sank. Suddenly everything made sense. The defensiveness, the tension, the emotional outburst. It hadn't been about the interview at all. It had been about the world learning something he wasn't ready to share. "Emma," Lorraine said quietly, "we need to fix this." "How?" "There must be a way to reach him. I need to talk to him. Privately." Emma hesitated. "After what just happened, are you sure he'll even pick up your call?" "I have to try," Lorraine insisted. Meanwhile, Ben received another blow. As his taxi pulled up outside his home, Ben's phone buzzed yet again. He looked down and froze. Another headline. Another leak. Another deeply personal detail spreading across the internet like wildfire. His chest tightened painfully. All this time, he thought his film would help him heal. Instead, it had opened the floodgates of old wounds, and the world was watching. He stepped out of the taxi and hurried inside, locking the door behind him. He leaned against it, exhausted. A second later, his phone rang. He almost ignored it, but when he glanced at the screen, he froze. Lorraine Kelly calling. He let it ring twice. 3 times. 4 times. Then he finally answered. Lorraine's voice was soft, almost apologetic. "Ben, please don't hang up. We need to talk." Ben exhaled slowly. Lorraine, I don't think there's anything left to say between us. You're wrong, she said firmly. Because I just found out the truth. A heavy silence filled the line. Ben didn't speak. He didn't need to. Lorraine continued gently, someone leaked your private story. Didn't they? Ben's voice cracked when he replied. Yes. Then let me help you, she whispered. Please. For the first time that day, Ben didn't feel angry. He felt understood. And that was the beginning of something neither of them expected.